Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for November 3rd through 9th. This week I read 2 books, I watched 3 shows, I watched 4 movies, and I listened to 1 book. This isn't my house either. It seems to be that these days I'm just not filming in my own house, but I do have shelves behind me, so at least there's that. The first book I finished this week was Slay, and this was absolutely fantastic. This was a recommendation from Jessie from Bowties and Books. Highly suggest you check out their channel if you're not already subscribed. They are fantastic. This book is about a girl who is an honor student at her private school by day, and by night she's the mastermind and creator of an all-black online gaming community. No one in her offline life knows that she is the developer for this game, and nobody in the game knows who she is in real life. This started out as her just creating a character so she would have a safe space to game without being called racist things while being on the internet. And then over the last 3 years it has changed into so much more. Because I'm not a gamer, I was hesitant going into this that I would be lost on some of the gaming mechanics, but they were actually interwoven really well and very easy to follow the action of what was happening in the game. This packed an emotional punch, it hit on a lot of cultural issues, and I cannot highly suggest it even more than I already have. Again, you should check out Jessie because I'm sure they've talked about this book and they will do it much more justice than I have. Next I finished Umbrella Academy 3 Hotel Oblivion, and can I tell you really what happened in this? Not really. I mostly read this 3rd and hopefully final volume before watching the TV show because I assumed, and I think I will be correct, that I will follow the action more closely on the TV show than I am in this medium. There were way too many characters to try to remember. There were way too many characters with powers, trying to remember what kind of powers they had, what kind of pasts they had, and there were way too many storylines going on in this one, and I just kind of skimmed, like, I read everything, but did I absorb any of it? Not so much. The art style was nice, but it wasn't enough for the fact that I really didn't care about the characters or what was going on. On to what I watched this week. Again, watching some more Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We're getting so much closer to the end of the episodes that we have, so we're watching them really slowly and with more intention, but we're into the 6th season now. And these characters absolutely grow on you. I'm also very glad that we got some background on Hitchcock and Scully. I also caught up on the 2 most recent episodes of Survivor, season 39, Island of the Idols, because I was just behind and I watch it with my roommate and sometimes I'm not at my own house. This is an incredibly unpredictable season and I don't know what's gonna go down when they merge next episode. I really don't. My roommate and I also finished the 3rd season of Glow. We just had 3 episodes left, we were saving them, and what I can say is that the Christmas episode at the end of season 10 was amazing. Obviously this is another show that brings up a lot of social issues and I really love the characters and I really love what's going on with it and I want to see where it's going to go in the next season, but I also just want to point out how brilliant it is to do a Christmas Carol using the characters that they had already created for their wrestling show as the characters in A Christmas Carol. It just played really well. I very much enjoyed it. On to the 4 movies I watched this week. You might remember if you watched last week that I watched the first Terminator movie because there's a new Terminator movie coming out and I had no idea how many Terminator movies I've actually seen. Well, this week I watched Terminator Judgment Day, Terminator Rise of the Machines, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genisys. So obviously as we went through these movies, some of the graphics got better, some of the plot lines got wibbly wobbly because time machine. Also I laughed really hard when I realized the 11th Doctor was in it because time travel movie, Doctor, alright. Not that I've actually seen any of his episodes of Doctor Who, but I pointed him out. It was great. This franchise has things it really likes to do in every single movie. Like, somebody has to steal a motorcycle in every single movie. There's certain callback lines that are just expected that will be in every single movie. I really didn't enjoy how sexist the 3rd movie was. I could tell as soon as the lightning started happening outside of this window with a couple of female mannequins in it that the next Terminator was going to be a female-formed Terminator, and I was like, oh great, this is not gonna be handled well, is it? And no, really wasn't. That being said, I've seen all of the Terminator movies that aren't currently in theaters, so now I can eventually go and see that one for a laugh. The book I listened to this week is a children's classic that I never read in my youth, and that's The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I think I originally put this on hold at the library because Snark Squad Pod was doing a book club where we were going to read certain books together, and this was one of them, and I think that they've definitely already read it because I had to wait for a little while. However, getting the audiobook from the library was fantastic because it was a full cast narration, and I love me a full cast narration, especially when it's a book about an 11-year-old girl in a world that is kind of like ours, but everybody has demons. And I don't mean that in the metaphorical sense, I mean that everybody is born with a creature that follows them around and it shapeshifts all the time until you get to puberty, and then it picks the shape that it's going to take, and that reflects on who you are as a person, and I found all of that very fascinating. I knew absolutely nothing about this book going into it, and I ended up really enjoying it. I am really shocked that I haven't picked it up before now, actually. If you've also never read it, this book centers an 11-year-old girl who lives at a college in Oxford, but it's not our Oxford, it's a different Oxford. And she was put there because her parents died when she was very young, and her uncle put her there just basically to get schooling from these people. They don't tend to school her because they're teaching actual university classes. But she gets into a little bit of trouble here and there, and then things go sideways from there, and there's definitely a lot of adventuring involved. This plot did have a lot of twists and turns to it, and I feel like because some of the names are names that I've never seen before, I should probably actually read it with my eyeballs to get some of that information more in my brain before I go on to the next book in the series. I believe this is a trilogy, and then I think there's a trilogy that takes place before this that was written after. I'm not entirely certain, but I will find out as I continue the series. Eventually, because I think we might all know by now that I don't just pick up the next book always in a series, I kind of stretch it out. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!